Gents, I just want to pause the episode for a moment to let you know about the Strong Men of Value Academy. You will have heard me refer to it a number of times, and I want to bring more attention to it. So this isn't just a program, it's a life-changing environment and community of men who are focused on personal and professional growth. We're looking at areas of relationships, wealth, and health, things to help you thrive and maximize your life. Imagine having bi-monthly one-on-one coaching sessions with myself, weekly group coaching calls, and an incredible brotherhood of high achievers by your side. Now we're diving into resilience, leadership, and holistic growth to not just succeed in your career, but to thrive in your health and your relationships. Your journey to greatness, it starts here. So join the movement and you can apply for the Strong Men of Value Academy. You can head to themanthatcanproject.com to find out more.
You're listening to The Man That Can Project with Lachlan Stuart, a global movement created to empower men and open up what's really going through their minds by having real and raw conversations about life's unique challenges and our individual ways of processing it all. Welcome to The Man That Can Project.
All right, team, welcome back to another episode of the Man That Can Projects podcast. We're up to episode 239, and there's no guest I'd rather have than the man on the other side of the screen. And hopefully in the future, we'll get you back on the podcast in person, because I know you're a ball of energy and an awesome bloke to be around. So for those who are listening on audio, you can't see Mick's smiling face there in the background. Are you in Toowoomba at the moment, or whereabouts are you at the moment?
Yeah, I'm in Toowoomba at the moment. I was on the Sunshine Coast, but moved back to Toowoomba to get some family time in for COVID. So good old T-Bar, Queensland.
Place to lock down. But so for those tuning in on audio and for those watching on YouTube, you can definitely see Mick's face there. But I know I was fortunate enough to cross paths with you, Mick. I was in high school, so at least over 12 years ago. You know, you're an amazing country music musician, and you helped my sister out when she was in her doing her music thing. And obviously your career's just gone like a fucking rocket ship in leaps and bounds. And I was just saying how much I love all your music, but one of your new songs in particular, Afterparty, has been copping a bloody slamming on my Spotify account. And my missus hates me. Like when I find a song that I like, it's just, you don't change it with any music. If it makes you feel good, I bang it on. So she's just like, come on, stop it now. It's had its run. I'm like, yeah, but has it? It's fucking awesome. I appreciate that. But let me give you a little bit of an introduction for everyone who's listening around the world. So obviously, 2009 was no rest for you. And obviously early 2020 before, COVID did its thing. You're an Australian independent singer-songwriter, and between obviously another 3 months in Nashville, I know you've spent a fair bit of time over there, evolving and growing your craft, but also collaborating with a lot of fantastic musicians and showcasing, all the incredible work that you have around the place, which is awesome to see. And, you've done a 2-month national tour, playing 76 shows, which I can't wait to talk about that, how taxing that must have been. Performing alongside international artists in the USA and the UK at reputable events. The first 3 chart-topping singles. I was thinking singles because the first one was Drink About You, so I went to sinking. But singles, Drink About You, If You're Sleeping, and of course my favourite, Afterparty, off the soon-to-be album. Exploded across the country, placing you in the top position, and seeing you clocking up a whopping 4 million streams. That is phenomenal. How does that make you feel?
It's pretty nuts, really, because when we released all this music, I was like, look, if we could get like 100,000 people, like 100,000 people to listen to these songs, that would be the ultimate dream. And then, we achieved that in like a month or 2. And I was like, well, what's next? So we moved the goalpost a little bit and just keep trying for more and more.
Mate, that is honestly, like, I can think about how many streams a podcast that had it, and it's nowhere near as many as 4 million. So that's incredible, mate. And obviously added to over 450 stations across the country, which rightfully placed you the most added song in country radio. That is fucking awesome. Like, that is I can't imagine what that would feel like to hear, or obviously to be in that position to know that's happened. But obviously COVID happened, and you're now enjoying I guess a more steady paced approach with your no worries attitude, which I know you've got, which has led you to do some pretty interesting stuff. And we were just talking about this before. I always have, and I probably still do to a degree, a preconceived idea of how I would assume musicians to act and behave, and you're completely different to that, and especially in the country music as well, right? Like you've with that no worries attitude, you've done some vipassanas, which for those who don't know what they are, I'll get you to explain that shortly, but it's some really interesting stuff that I wouldn't assume a country music artist would be doing. I always picture you in your boots, bloody with a lasso, throwing down some rum cans, getting amongst it. But obviously, excited to announce some new shows for late 2020, and obviously a full calendar back in 2021, with fingers crossed that COVID fucks off, essentially. So, mate, I appreciate you giving up your time, because I know you're a super busy man, and I know everyone's going to be really, really excited to learn more about you and what you're up to, and the life that you've led to this point and where it's going next. So thank you for joining us.
Mate, thanks for having me. That intro was like getting me excited about all my songs and stuff. You just have this exciting vibe about you. I love it.
It's just the reflection of, for those who haven't listened to Afterparty, pause this right now and put Afterparty. Make sure you come back. But it makes you feel really fucking good. It's a really good.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'll probably put it in here at some point, maybe in the intro or something.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I always want to try and create. The thing I love most about music is being able to entertain people, and like even most musicians don't particularly like weddings, but I love them because there's no marketing involved. There's no ticket sales. You're not trying to, plug albums and sign posters, and like your only job is to go there and make people happy, help people have a great time. And that's the gigs that I love to do. So to hear that you feel good listening to one of my songs and stuff, that's probably one of the biggest pats on the back, because it's achieving what I want to do, is, get people just feeling good.
Yeah, mate, you're doing a great job at it, that's for sure. But give us a rundown. Like, obviously, I'm excited to dive into where you're at now and the life experiences that you've had, but sort of how, to take us through the younger years. Like, have you always been into music? What was life like for you from a younger age before you sort of achieved the level of success that you've got? Because I guess, people are going to start Googling you and doing all that sort of jazz, and, social media and the internet always paints a good picture. But
yeah, definitely.
We could get to know the real you and what life's been like for you. Give us a bit of a rundown on that.
Yeah, it is all smoke and mirrors on Instagram and Facebook, and obviously you put your best foot forward on all the social media, and not everybody does get to sit down and chat for a while and hear the full story. So I guess I first started liking a little bit of country music when I was listening to some Garth Brooks and some of my parents' record collection and stuff, and even like Bryan Adams and Bon Jovi and so many different types of music. It was only when I was like late sort of 16, 17, somewhere around there, that I actually picked up a guitar and started playing some. Yeah. And I failed music in year 8 in high school. And I just didn't do music again. I decided it wasn't really for me, and I can't read music, and sitting there with piano or something and reading notes, it just didn't sound fun to me at all. So I wasn't engaged at all in it. And when someone was actually just sort of playing a guitar, and I'm like, oh, how cool would it be to be able to just play a guitar? I'm like, show me what you're doing there, and just learned in a very practical way, I guess, of just hearing and looking and copying, I suppose, and figuring out what all these chords and strumming and stuff is. And I didn't start singing until like another year or two after that.
So you would have been 18, 19 by the time you started singing?
Yeah. I just wanted to be. I loved playing guitar and had really no ambition to sing, because I tried singing a little bit and it was just awful. So I'm like, no, I'm going to get great at guitar and play guitar for other people. And I got asked to come along and play guitar for a girl at a talent quest. And in fact, that's where I met Rach, your sister, at in the country music talent quest kind of circuits and whatnot, where all the musicians help support the people singing, and I just wanted to play guitar. But then I was around it long enough that I thought to myself, this singing thing doesn't look that hard. So I thought I'd give it a go, and and then I started singing and playing guitar, and I learned drums and piano and banjo and mandolin and a few different harmonica and whatnot. I just loved playing music, but it's all self-taught, and I've just sort of watched people and had a go. But that's basically been my whole music career.
Because hearing that, I'm like, fucking hell, it sounds like you just pick it up and it's there. Like, I've tried starting the guitar, the drums, and it's not my jam. I'd love it to be, and probably I'm not persistent enough or consistent enough. But do you feel like there is just a lot of natural talent or the ear of the music or something like that? Because not many people can just pick things up and learn them, I don't believe.
I've generally been reasonably good at picking things up and learning them, and I love learning new things. That's one of my probably biggest passions in life, is just trialing new stuff and challenging myself to, I guess step out of my comfort zone and try new things, because I think that's the exciting thing about life, to be honest. If I wasn't learning stuff all the time and wasn't trying new things, it'd just be boring. So when this music sort of opportunity came along, where my uncle and my cousin and stuff were playing guitar for a few days when they came up to visit, I was like, yeah, all right, well, while you're around, show me a few of these. So I definitely think consistently learning and that wanting to learn something makes it so much easier to excel in something. If you're not interested in something, like I wasn't interested in music at school, there's no way you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink, kind of thing. So it's where your passions lie. I think a lot of people have passions that they can't, they can't really convince themselves that that's an actual career for themselves, and they can't justify why they should follow their passion, because it's just not a good idea, or it might be too hard. But if you're passionate about something, the truth is you're probably going to do well at it, and you're going to retain more information, and you're going to be, people love passionate people about anything. If you see a passionate garbage man, you're like, that guy's a legend and he loves his job, and it just makes everything look great. If you see a passionate athlete, if you see a passionate musician, if you see someone passionate about anything, they're going to do well at it, So I think that's the key. I found a passion for music, and I just really enjoyed it. So that's why I picked it up fast.
Do you still, was there a moment in time, or do you remember a specific moment where you were like, I fucking love this, like I love music, and you had that light bulb moment where, or just that idea that I want to make this my career and what I do for a living?
I found it gave me a little bit more confidence. I wasn't a very confident sort of kid.
Yep.
I just really liked, I guess, a way to express myself, and put whatever energy out there, whether it be, some people dance and some people, speak, and I felt like guitar and singing was just a way that I could express myself a little bit more confidently, because I was a bit of a quiet kid. So that was, one thing that helped.
Yeah, very, very interesting. What was so like, you're obviously playing guitar and it gave you that confidence, but were there ever moments where you've doubted yourself, like when you sort of obviously made that decision to go, hey, this is what I'm fucking doing, I'm going after this? Were there ever many moments where you're like, I don't think I'm good enough to do this, or I don't think I can hack it? Did any of that sort of pop up for you, or has it just been a smooth road for you?
Funnily enough, so for all the listeners out there, Lockie's dad is a builder, and I was doing my carpentry apprenticeship, and I actually met your dad through Rachel. And I was just finishing my apprenticeship, and I was just coming out as a tradesman, and then I started working for your dad, Andy, and and so I think I worked for about 6 months before, like, music was making enough money at that point to really try and pursue it full time. But I think there was a definite thing when I said I was like putting the hammer and tool belt down and going to pursue this guitar and music thing. And I think everyone had thought I'd, call back in a month's time, hungry and broke, and pick up the nail bag again. And to be honest, I wasn't sure about it either, but I thought I'm going to give it a crack, because I knew where my passion was. I enjoy building, and I enjoy, working with people, but music is where I felt like I was going to have the most impact and the thing that I enjoyed the most. And I guess it was the easiest money too. Like, you just rock up and set up some speakers, and like, it's not even work. It's like, I had a great time, and you get paid to like have beers and party with people, and you're the center of the party where you get to play music. I mean, this isn't work, and I'm getting paid more for it than a carpentry trade. So let's give it a go.
It's funny you say it's not hard. I could not think of anything harder than getting up in front of people and trying to sing, because I know how painful it would be to listen to my voice, and my trying to strum the guitar, it would be horrible. But moving forward, like, what for you, when things really started to take off, like, what were there many challenges, or was it just an exciting, journey from that point and to reaching the peaks that you've sort of hit? Like, you often see what people deem as overnight successes, but I'm sure it wasn't just that for you. Like, what would have happened in and around, on that journey that has made you question whether it's the right profession for you or not, or whether it's worth it?
To be honest, it was actually really smooth sailing to start with, and it was I was just constantly slowly putting my price up from, like, and I was on $6 an hour when I started working when I was in high school, kind of thing, and now I was like getting paid $100 an hour or whatever it was to play music, and I was just like, this is absolute nuts, and so because I was passionate about it, everybody wanted a part of that energy and whatnot. So I found myself picking up gigs really easily. I found myself, throwing an extra $50 every now and then on the price, and everyone was like, yep, that's fine. And so it was really smooth sailing for a lot of years, really, like over 10 years maybe. And then in 2016, I had a manager. I'm getting some notifications on the screen. I had a manager. I released the best music I had yet. I went to Nashville and I recorded all this music. Everything before that was recorded basically in Australia, and I hadn't really made the time to, really invest a lot into making, producing the sound that I keep hearing on all these albums. I was listening to all these albums that I really love, and I'm like, this is the music that I want to create, down this genre. And on the back of every one of those albums, there was Nashville, USA written there. So Nashville, Tennessee, everything was that. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to have to try and get over there and record in Nashville. So it took about a year or two of planning and saving money and, building myself to this point and getting all the marketing and getting all the ducks in a row and getting the songs and recording them all. And sorry, there's a grandfather clock here just ringing out now.
It's perfect. Sounds a treat.
Family heirloom. I guess I put a lot of energy, a lot of money, a lot of attachment, you know, just a lot of emotional energy, you know, put into this project. And on the release day, within that week, everything fell apart with the manager that I had employed at that point. And long story short, it cost me probably hundreds of thousands of dollars, well, easily hundreds of thousands of dollars. And found myself like, you know, and I mean, this is just for, I suppose, a mindfulness story, really. You know, I found myself with all this attachment and climbing up to here. And then on social media, I was here, but everywhere, like I felt this like huge collapse, you know, and my whole life was in turmoil, and, you know, the band was breaking apart, and like everything just completely crashed. This guy went well out of his way to destroy everything that we worked towards because he wasn't a part of the project. And, you know, I discovered some money missing, and he got really defensive when I started asking questions. And so I guess the be all and end all is, you know, it was extremely busy working all up to that. And then he didn't get back to any of the gigs, any inquiries, anything. And I was just left sitting at home with like a #1 song on iTunes at the top of the career. This is in 2016. And I'd never felt worse. So I was like, what is going on? This is not how it should be, you know? So I set my mind on, you know, I really didn't want to feel that way. I knew that wasn't me and that wasn't who I was. I was just a ball of energy, laid back, no worries. But I found myself wanting to break this motherfucker's legs. You know,
mate,
that's just how I felt.
Mate, I remember this is when we linked back up again it must have been 2016. And I remember hearing that story and I was just like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, let's motherfucker and beat some money out of it. Did well, man. You've done really well.
But like I intellectually understood that, you know, like I don't want to feel like this. I wish I could just wish him the best of luck. But there was this fire burning inside of me that was like not wanting to let that go. And I was coming up with justifications like, well, I always did try and do the right thing. And this guy clearly went out of his way to do the wrong thing. And yeah, I guess it was burning me up inside. And I understood, you know, the emotional cost of if I carry this on, you know, like how long will this end up actually costing me if I feel this way for another year, or, you know, people feel this way for 10 years after something like that happens, because of the amount of attachment that you've put into, and energy and time and money and whatever you know, have been working on for a project just to fail, you know. It was #1, but I felt like it failed. So I was chatting to a good friend of mine who she did 10 years in the military, finished up and came back to Australia and wanted to be a life coach and whatnot. And she ended up getting recommended for this thing called a Vipassana. So I'm a country kid, you know, literally spent my time on millions of acres, you know, mustering and shearing and all that sort of, you know, cattle work and stuff every school holidays and getting sent out there. So, you know, the sound of this like meditation camp thing, I'm thinking, oh, all these bloody hippies and stuff are going to be sitting there like, oh, you know,
yeah.
Whatnot. So I was pretty skeptical. And anyway, she convinced me just to sign up for it. You can cancel at any time, you know, and it was, you know, 6 months away or whatever. So I'm like, oh, yeah, right, I will put my name down for it. And I'm thinking to myself, I'll just cancel the week before and not have to do it, you know. Yep. And as it turns out, I didn't have anything on that week. And I was like, oh, well, am I doing this thing or not, you know? So so I went along there, and I you know, we were laughing in the car on the way there. You know, how are you going to talk to each other? Like if you, oh, do you want a glass of juice? You know, you're like, you know, like just doing all that, you know, but it was definitely one of the hardest things I've done. But by far the most beneficial thing I've ever done for myself.
Like what was it like? Like what did you find hard about it? Because obviously for those who have no real understanding, most people can't sit still for fucking 3 minutes without finding it hard.
Well, that was me.
Yeah. How'd you overcome all of that sort of stuff?
Well, I mean, the good thing is it's 10 days of silent meditation at like a retreat kind of thing. So, and they're all over the world. If you look it up, it's called Vipassana, or Vipassana is how it's spelled. But it basically, it's a guided meditation. So you're there for yourself and you're kind of there by yourself, but you're guided through it all. So you know where you're meant to be, and you've got a schedule, and you've got all your food provided for you, all your accommodation. It's completely free for 10 days. And if you get something out of it, the people before you have donated some money, so you can do it for free. And if you decide to, put some money forward for the next people to experience what it's given you, then you can. If you don't have anything, you've got nothing anyway. So if you've got some good soil in your gardens, come along, bring a bucket of good soil and put it on some plants, so the trees grow nice and there's a nice garden for the next person. Like, it's literally just you give if you feel like giving, So I was like, there is literally nothing to lose. But the hardest thing is I just realized, I thought I was a pretty focused person. I had multiple businesses. I was successful in other businesses financially and profile wise with the whole music thing and everything. But, mindfulness is so underrated and it's not talked about enough, I feel. I thought I was focused and had mindfulness until I realized that there's this 2-year-old kid that's a monkey in my brain, constantly like touching and playing with things and thinking about the past, thinking about the future, wanting to, do all this stuff other than just sit still and actually focus on the present moment. So, that was the hardest thing, is just like trying to just slow your brain down, just calm down. So, it took about 3 days, actually. The first 3 days, I could not focus for longer than 20 seconds.
Far out. For
3 days. And that's all you did all day for, 12 or 15 hours a day, whatever it might have been. You meditated. And it was all guided. They gave you all the tools you needed, and it was like absolutely amazing. It took 3 days before I could actually last 20 breaths. I counted 20 breaths where my mind was actually stopped thinking about the past and the future, and I was actually there, actually just concentrating on my breath. And it seems so simple.
It does.
It seems so simple.
I think it's such an important thing to understand, like master and understand, because you said it was you, and it was definitely me as well, where you're like, I can't slow my brain down. It's, it's not for me. I can't do it. And it's like, the more I think about it, it's like, well, that's why so many of us are struggling with mental, health or illnesses, because we use that as a fucking excuse. It's like,
exactly,
you're going to suck at anything that you don't practice. And most of us are so used to keeping ourselves busy for various reasons. But it's like, it took you 3 days. It took me, when I started meditation, I'd love to do a Vipassana. I think I've been saying that to you since 2016. It took me, my coach was like, I was doing it every day, and it took me 3 weeks to have that moment where I actually just enjoyed 10 minutes of, being present. And now I'm fucking nailing it. Like, I'm on nearly a 90-day streak. And I was saying to a mate yesterday, like, I've been doing it inconsistently consistent over the last sort of 5 years, where I'll do, a good month and then I'll stop for a month and on off. But now that I've showed consistent practice, I'm starting to really benefit, like really understand what it means, like, and how to process things and understand things. And it's so incredible. Like, it's one of the most important parts of my day.
The funny thing I heard was, if you don't have enough time to do a 10-minute meditation in the day, you should do a 1-hour meditation.
Yeah, fucking
if you think that you don't have enough time to do it, then you need a longer one. You know. So and it's actually so true. When I was day one is important thing, I guess. You know, the man that can is. I feel like, you know, having a good mindset and good mindfulness is so important. So, yeah, we'll go off the music track for a little bit, but
let's go.
But in day one, the you know, guys, the guiding sort of person, I suppose, Goenka is his name.
Goenka.
He said, you know, that there's going to be, you know, someone in your life that has done something wrong by you and whatnot, and just sit there and see how you feel and see if you can experience anything in your body, kind of thing. And instantly, you know, I mean, you could tell the first person I thought of. So and right now I was experiencing like knots in my belly, and I had this burning thing, and I was kind of itchy, and I was aggravated and all this stuff. And he said, that's not that person doing that. That's you. That person is not here. They're not here anymore. You've only got yourself to blame now for this present moment, you feeling like that. And it's time that you actually, you know, accept that this is all in you. It's got nothing to do with them now. And for the next 10 days, you're here by yourself. These people don't have any influence on any of your life, any of your emotions, unless you let it, you know. So I think the key thing with the whole Vipassana thing was, it's not about positivity. It's not about negativity. It's about acceptance. And whether you're having a good day or a bad day, if you can actually be okay with having a bad day, then it is okay. If you're actually okay with everything going wrong, then there's no problem.
Yeah, exactly.
There is no problem.
It's,
you know, and things are always going to go wrong, you know, always. Because that is life. It can't be just a blanket, you know, flat line. Things are up and down. That is life. And you know, I guess impermanence. Everything's constantly changing. So if you attach yourself to something good or something bad, it's definitely going to change. Like a sunny day today, if you think, oh, I love sunny days, I'm only happy on sunny days, I hate rainy days, you know, you're just setting yourself up for disaster, because it has to change. It has to. So, yeah, by not having that attachment, not thinking good or bad, but just thinking that this is just as it is now. And if I can learn to accept exactly how it is now, then I don't have to be even happy, but I can be content.
Yep.
And that for me has, being focused on contentment has brought me happiness. Not being happy has brought me contentment.
Oh, that is beautiful. What do you think about, like, you know, and I was in this boat once, and I know a lot of people are, but so many people are fearful of failure that they just try to run the neutral line, right? Where they just try to avoid failure. But do you feel there's, you know, you run risks of, by trying to avoid failure so much, you don't ever really get to experience the highs, or, you know, all of the greatness that there is to come with life as well? Or what's your sort of feedback on that way of thinking? Have you ever lived in that way? Or
yeah, I think it's, you know, everybody's different with their risk tolerance. You know, if you gave, you know, 100 people $100 and said go to a casino, you know, everyone's going to bet completely different. Someone's going to go to the 1 cent machine. Someone's just going to say $100 on black. And, you know,
what would you do?
I'm about in the middle there. I'm like, well, you know, it's either, you know, if you can't walk out with it.
I was going to say, I'd put it in my pocket.
$100 right there and then, yeah. Yeah, I don't know what I would do. Actually, I'm in the middle. I'm quite conservative with risk taking, but I'm quite analytical. So if I think my chances of losing it are more than, you know, keeping it, then I'd be hesitant. But yeah, I only gamble on things that I'm experienced in.
Yeah, mitigating risk then. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. Figure out your risk tolerance, I guess. Yeah. And you know, like people, if you think about you know, people wanting to do you know, higher education or buy a business, if you wanted to go for example, start an antique shop, you know, if that's what you wanted to do, and you want to go do a business management degree at university, and then you want to go do, you know, XYZ, rack up like a $60,000 bill at university to learn about all this stuff, because you didn't want to spend 60 grand on a business and learn the hard way.
Yeah.
You know, you could have probably gone and got a lease on a shop and stocked it with antique furniture or something, you know, and actually just started a business and learnt a real world way. But your risk tolerance would have been lower, and you're like, no, I want to go to university first, you know. But it's much of a muchness whether you go the practical way or the theoretical way first, or you know. But if you go a practical way, the theory has to come. You're going to learn stuff about business. You're going to learn stuff about that industry. You're going to have to learn stuff about marketing. You're going to have to learn stuff about web design, or how to get all these things up and running. Or you can go to university, learn it all, but then you still need to buy a business, kind of thing. And you still need to start.
You gotta.
So,
it's
so from someone that failed music at school and has never done a business degree or anything, I kind of just like, oh, let's just give this a go, and unfortunately learned everything the hard way. But but I remembered my lessons that I had to learn. So
yeah, they're painful.
But it's all about risk tolerance. You know, I could have gone and studied music or something instead of doing carpentry, or instead of just starting to play shows. But I just decided to go out there and give it a crack and quit my day job, and
here we are.
Maybe end up back on my ass. I don't know.
I'm a massive believer in that way. Like, there's a lot of people who spend their time getting ready to get ready. It's like, I need to learn this, or this has to be perfect, or I need to understand that. And like you were saying earlier, you know, when you were studying music, you failed, but when you were practically, you know, the practical side of actually doing it and implementing it and being in the environment of musicians and doing all that, that's when you fell in love with it, and you realized it was your passion. And a lot of people never get to experience that because they're so focused on getting all the, you know, the admin side of things, or all the theoretical strategies in place, that they never actually get to embody what it feels like. That's why a lot of people come out of uni and they go, oh fuck, actually I don't like that. That's not what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
So
maybe you should have done it for 2 months and seen if you liked it first.
Like, that's probably why
not studied it for 6 years.
Yeah, apprenticeships are a good way of doing things, because you're actually in there in the environment, getting a feel for it, and you're learning. Even if you're working for $6 an hour or whatever you're working for, but you'd rather be on $6 than paying someone. In saying that,
yeah, definitely. Funny thing, during the COVID thing, I had a list of all these different things that I wanted to achieve. And fortunately, I'd learnt my lesson from 2016 when everything collapsed. I kind of sat around and didn't really achieve that much. When looking back after the Vipassana, I saw everything a lot clearer. But, you know, for 10 years, I've been constantly on the road, constantly playing shows, constantly worried about what everyone was thinking about me, or you know, constantly worried about social media and all that. And all I actually felt like was just a few months of no music, no nothing, no gigs. Like, I can do whatever I want, travel wherever I want, and there's nothing going on. And here, this actually got handed to me on a silver platter. Like, well, you don't have any fucking gigs. You don't have any money. Yeah. You don't have all this stuff that I actually was like wanting, but I hated the way it got delivered to me. You know, I was completely not in control of that, of how it all came about. But if I'm honest, I wouldn't have had the balls to make the decision to actually take some time off either. So it just got handed to me in a way that I hated. But it's exactly what I actually wanted. So it was a really, like, it was about probably a 7 or 8 month kind of like slump where not much was really happening, you know. So, you know, once this COVID thing came back around. I don't feel like I need to learn that same lesson twice. So I was like, beauty, I've got some time to get all this stuff done. Like we lost, well into 6 figures within 2 days of everything getting cancelled, and it was a huge loss, and we had all plans for expanding and moving this and buying infrastructure, and like everything was like, this is going to be our year, and then everything fell over. And I literally looked at the general manager of my company, and we were sitting there having a meeting, like, what the fuck are we going to do? And we're talking about everything, and I'm like, I smiled at her and I said, we're fucked. But I was like, we're completely fucked. Like, but I was completely okay with it. I'm like, I just lost this game of chess, but I'm okay with it, but like, right now we need to re-strategize everything and do it, but it's because I didn't put the same attachment. I still put the same amount of energy in and everything like that, and I'm passionate about it, but I didn't put the same attachment into, this is how it's got to run for me to be happy. This is how it's got to run, and it's like, oh, this just like completely blindsided me. And here we are. I love strategy games and I love strategy, business and stuff. And I'm like, this is just a great challenge that we need to try and overcome. Like, I don't know how we're going to do it yet, but it might completely fall over. I might have to pick up my tool bag again. But luckily enough, we've strategized and got through it all, and it looks like that we're going to be all right. But anyway, I decided to make use of the time as best I could, and a pilot's license was actually on one of the things I wanted to do. So I took a whole month off all work and everything just to focus on aviation, and went and got my pilot's license and navigation endorsements, and then.
So you've got it. You're good to go.
Yeah. So,
pick me up.
Yeah. Whenever you need to go somewhere, I'll come and grab you.
Just to Toowoomba, please.
Yeah. It's 16 minutes in one of the planes I'm flying from your place to my place.
Far out.
True story.
That is,
or an hour and a half drive. Yeah.
Take the plane, please. Way up the coast.
Yeah. It's pretty good. But no, funny thing that what actually made me think of that was, finding out if it's something that you love to do first. My dad's been a pilot for years for decades. So I'd always known that I enjoy flying around, and it's really second nature. And hence the reason why I probably picked it up really quick and got a license pretty in a reasonably short time. But I was talking to a friend who she was like, oh, I really want to get my pilot's license. And I'm like, have you been in a small plane before? She's like, oh, I've been in like a Qantas link flight, like a Dash 8, like a 25-seater or something, And I'm like, have you been in like a 2-seat plane? Like, that's the plane that you need to start loving to fly in, And she's like, no, I've never been in a plane like that. And I'm like, well, before you go to flight school, before you start opening books to study, before you do all that, let's just go on a fly and see if you even enjoy it, because the first thing that you've got to have is a passion for something. If you actually enjoy it, then you might do well at it. But if you start opening a book and thinking, it all looks a bit hard, but as soon as you've actually experienced the joy of whatever you're wanting to do, it's pretty easy to open a book and start studying and retaining all that information and to do well at it, to excel at it, because you've got the passion for it. It's so important.
Bloody yeah. And one thing you were saying earlier, it's like, you sort of just embraced what was going on at the moment, because obviously it's been a interesting time for a lot of people, and it's definitely easy to look to blame, the virus and this, that, and the other, which there's things that are out of our control. But one thing that you really said reminded me of a quote, that the quote of life happens for me, not to me. And sometimes it's happening for you in a way that you don't really appreciate at the time, but in hindsight, you can look back and go, fuck, I'm glad that happened because it gave me what I actually really needed. And maybe I didn't, you know, I wasn't, like you said, you didn't have the balls to fucking just stop for a month and do that. So it's a quote to remind me of.
Who's going to turn down all this work and gigs and everything rolling to what? Sit at home, or to, you know, why would you cancel all that work? You wouldn't. Well, I couldn't. I didn't have the balls to do it. So, yeah.
It's interesting. I was talking to a client this morning, and he was saying the same about his business. Like he's in a point in his life where he wants to start, you know, doing other things with his life, and really successful business. And he's like, mate, you know, I feel like I'm not ambitious anymore because I don't want to keep growing my business. And it's really interesting. I think, you know, a lot of us pride ourselves on the success that we have financially or career-wise because of recognition, significance, and various things like that. But I was like, well, mate, ambition's not just limited to business or career. Like ambition could be, you know, directed at your family life or at hobbies or your health or you know, doing Vipassanas, like understanding yourself more. Like that can be ambitious. It may not reward you financially. I think it will come back around and do that, but it may reward you in different ways, right? The value comes, it's not just always about money. And I think one thing we need to...
The best investment is always in yourself, they say.
100%. And it's like opportunities like this, like what we've got now, whether it's the first time we're all on the same page, everyone's been hit by it, right? But now we can go, awesome. Well, how about we fucking do all the things that we've always said we wanted to do, but we never had the balls to do? Like fucking most people aren't even doing that right now. They've got their, you know, they're moping around, and, you know, everyone's got their own way of dealing with things, but it's like, do the shit you want to fucking do, because eventually COVID's going to pass, and you don't want to look back on, I haven't made the use of that downtime I had.
Yeah. Or if you're going to do nothing, like if you want to sit around the house and mope around and stuff, a lot of people don't actually even give themselves the downtime that they're actually taking anyway. And then they feel bad because they're sitting at home doing nothing and they should be doing this. So they're not even getting any rest time either.
Yep.
Like if you're going to sit at home and do that, commit.
Yes.
And if rest time is what you're going to achieve, and that's how you're going to hit out of COVID, and be full of energy and ready to achieve whatever you think that you can't do because of a virus, which is probably not as true as what you probably think anyway. You know, if you're going to have a rest, put your feet up, kick your feet up, go sit on the beach for 3 days, do fucking nothing and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Because that's what's actually going to help you maybe find some inspiration. And so you get itchy feet again. You're like, oh, what cool shit can I make? You know, what cool shit can I make happen? You know, today I feel like doing something now because I actually got some good rest in, or, you know, it's totally okay to have a downtime, but if you're going to have a down day, make sure you have a down day and embrace it. That, you know, that's one thing that I never did. If I got nothing done for a day, I'd be like, oh, I feel like crap. Not only did I get nothing done, but I didn't even rest either. You may as well do one of them. That's my philosophy.
Make a fucking decision and stick by it. Embrace it. Which, it's exactly that, right? Like, if you're feeling sad, like, embrace it. It's not you don't beat yourself up for feeling sad. Just go, cool. What do I feel like? If I feel sad, fuck, I just want to play, you know, video games or Netflix and just do nothing and talk to no one. All right, cool. Do that and enjoy it. And don't look back on what a waste of a day. Like, you needed it. Your body, the reason why we're experiencing all kinds of emotions is for a fucking reason. So if we take time to sit in it and understand it, it's like, cool, we can understand what's missing or what we want to improve or what's causing us to feel certain ways.
Yeah.
It's like when you hear a really good song and it makes you feel good, you just play the fucking thing again and again and again. There's no point putting on shit. You know what I mean? That's my philosophy with listening to it. It's a good one at that. Well, so moving on from that, like what's on the cards for you? Like where do you sort of see you and your ambitions and everything you're working towards, and not just from the music front? I'd love to hear from the music front, but just you in general as a man, like what are you looking to sort of create over the next couple of years for yourself?
Yeah. So right before COVID hit, I was heading back to the States to finish an album. So I went to Nashville, recorded half an album, and then I was going to do some more songwriting and hear from more publishers and get pitched more songs and head back and finish the second half of the album. And that all the second half of the album kind of got canned. So as soon as the borders open back up, we're ready to record some more songs and release an album. I just released a song actually a couple of weeks ago now called By the Way. And luckily enough, I guess we've had more success on that than the first 3 that we released, which I wasn't going to even release it as a single because it was meant to come out with the album, but we don't have an album. So we just thought, well, let's, we've got 6 songs and we've released 3, and then it was going to be the album next. But I'm like, let's release song number 4, let's roll with it. And it's actually had more success than all the others basically put together. It's we're on Coles Radio nationally now, and it got Spotify playlisted and everything, all the things that you're, I guess, trying to do and to push the song out there. We've got all that on like the first day and the first week, and we were working months and months and months to try and get all that stuff lined up before. So it's kind of weird that it's all just fallen into place.
Trust the process.
It's really, I guess just a really weird time. But as soon as the borders open back up, I'll be heading back over to Nashville and recording the rest of the album and hopefully get that out there. I guess whenever that happens, I'm not really attached to a timeline, and I'm ready to go whenever. So thankfully, this whole year got cancelled. And then gigs basically said, let's just work on 2021. So 2021 is looking to be like fantastic, which is great. But I think COVID will sneak into 2021 yet. So I'm not too attached to all those gigs either.
I fucking hope wrong. Have a fresh year.
But I was just looking at my calendar yesterday actually, and I've got 1 weekend free between now and the end of the year. So. And we're only in September, so it's sort of come good again. It's nowhere near what it was, that we did have booked in at the start of the year, but it's really great to be at least out playing again, and I'm getting a few flying jobs and stuff here and there with an agricultural company, which is really cool, and that's an industry that is still working well. So I'm getting my hours up flying and having a blast traveling around flying planes.
Mate, that's awesome.
Instead.
Cool. I've got one last question for you. I always ask this at the end of the podcast and put people on the spot because it's good to get everyone's opinion on it or their own thoughts. But what does being a man mean to you?
Being a man. Oh yeah, that is on the spot, isn't it? I know. I was like, he won't put me on the spot. I'll get all this. No worries at all. But yeah, that is a huge question, isn't it? I guess raised, I guess in like old fashioned and country values. It's the whole chivalry thing. Opening doors for girls and that's been like a good man. Paying for things and whatnot. But I feel like the world has changed so much where, women really appreciate kind of equal rights and stuff. And part of feminism is why chivalry kind of, has gone by the wayside. But I think it's important to keep some chivalry there. And, I guess part of being a man in a relationship at least, is having a woman that actually embraces femininity as well, and allows you to actually be the man as well, I guess it's just an ever-changing world and there's so many different personalities and so much different stuff. But being a man, I think I've got a completely different view, and it's just being a good human, just be kind to people and it sounds really cliche, but if you don't want something done to you, don't do it to somebody else. And if you fuck up and you do somebody over, just do your best to make it right, you know, because we all make mistakes and we all, you know, accidentally did something that completely benefited ourselves. And it puts someone just a little bit down and whatnot. Do your best to help them back up. Do your best to help the next person in line.
Yep.
With my music and stuff, I always try and, you know, I'm a huge advocate for youth learning music and giving them a pathway. So, like, I know how fucking hard it was for me to have to learn everything the hard way.
Yeah.
And learn most of it myself without really many music mentors and stuff. So if there's an opportunity that I can get to help the next person along that just might need some help, like, hey, what, you know, here's where I'm at. What is my next step in your opinion, you know, and to help them kind of piece their, you know, puzzle together. But, you know, just being a good human, help the next person along and just be kind to people. And normally if someone flips you off and flips you the bird, you know, and is having a really bad day, the last thing they need you to do is make it all about you. Like, if you don't know them, they're not even angry at you, you know, like they're mad at themselves. And if, and that's something that Vipassana kind of helped me understand is, like, what if you were just like, you know, like showed them love and compassion, that they totally would not expect it, you know? A really, really quick story. I was at a Bucks night, really long story short. This guy walked up to me and said, hey, how about I punch you in the fucking face? And I'd literally done nothing. This guy just walked up to me, right? And this is like the week after my Vipassana. This is the week after it. And I sat there, and within this thought process happened in about half a second, where I just had this deeper understanding that this isn't about me. This is totally, you know, he's going through some stuff. And I said, my friend, I really hope that you, you know, work out whatever you're going through. And I hope it's, you know, like I just said like one sentence to actually genuinely wish that he, you know, hope that he figures out whatever he's going through at the moment, you know. And he had a couple of buddies ready to blue, and he just turned away. This hit him harder than any punch could, by showing love and compassion. I hope that he went home that night and actually thought about, you know, how he can, you know, benefit his life. But, you know, I could have just thrown a headbutt instead, like, you know, but you know, if you see someone that's going through some stuff, you know, it's totally not about you. Don't make it about you. You know, help them.
Yeah.
Be loving, compassionate. Just be a good human. You know, that's my version of being a man. You know, like, yeah, more than happy to walk away from a fight or you know, whatever conflict, or if there's gossip about you, it's really easy to you know, get caught up in it. You know, there's always someone going to be saying something about you. It doesn't matter who you are, you know.
Yeah.
You know, it's totally not about you. It's not about you at all. It's about their insecurities and stuff that they're going through. So, you know, rather than you know, making it, you know, starting more drama and keeping stuff going, resolve things. You know, help people out.
100%.
That's I guess maybe my version of being a man, what being a man means. Yeah,
pretty simple but powerful. Like, fucking easy to live by. So I think it's great, and it's good to hear that. And the reason why I never sort of prep people from that is because I think, you know, it's important for all men. You know, there's tons of people who listen to this, and to be able to resonate with different people. But, you know, I think all at the end of the day, depending on how people word it, it all comes back to the same thing, which is awesome to hear time and time again. So I definitely know, you know, that's going to resonate with a heap of people. Finally, where do people find you? Like, if they want to, you know, websites, I don't know if you're on TikTok or Instagram or all that sort of stuff, where can people find you? I'll put all this in the show notes as well. But
I did try a couple of TikToks, but I failed miserably.
So dying.
I think I got maybe 6 views or something. Yeah, it was awful. They're still up there. But you can just type in Mick Lindsay, anything, MickLindsay. And there's a website, micklindsay.com, and Facebook and Instagram is where I normally am, and there's a Snapchat and all the different platforms. But
that's Snapchat.
Yes, and on Spotify, if you want to have a listen to music, Spotify, Apple Music, Google Play, YouTube, all your favorite streaming, whatever it is, I'm hopefully on there. So just type in Mick Lindsay and start having a scroll.
Get some soothing music in there and grab yourself a beer and sit on the balcony and away you go. Which is perfect. Mate, I appreciate you giving up your time to jump on here and share, more about who you are and what you've overcome, and I guess even just your perspectives on life. I think it's awesome to see, especially, in the music space and what I've seen of it and the assumptions that I have about it. It's cool to see that, you're very mindful and understand that there's more to life than, your identity is not attached to what you do. So I think that's really awesome.
Yeah, it's there's a saying I heard one time: never believe your own PR. So all the shiny photos that you see everyone put on Instagram, it's fine to put it all up there, but don't start believing your own bullshit. Yeah. Make sure you stay true to who you are, and it might look shiny online, but if you believe your own bullshit, then you're bound to end up in a world of hurt. So keep it real.
Keep it fucking real. All right, Jen. So I'm sure you got as much out of that episode and loved getting to learn more about Mick Lindsay and everything that he's up to. Definitely head over, give him a follow, and listen to a few of his tunes. Great music. Before signing off today, remember, if you're getting value from this or you know someone who would resonate and relate to what Mick's spoken about, please share it on your socials. Tag me in it so I can give you guys a reshare. Just keep in mind, we have launched the Man That Can Project Inner Circle, right? So what the Inner Circle is it's a membership, right, where you work together with men who are wanting to take ownership of their life and continue to grow in the 8 areas, right? You get your 12-week Men in Momentum plan, which you create. You have your monthly men's circle virtually, men of value tasks, so that you can get yourself and create momentum, but also grow in the 8 areas as a part of, the book club. So each month, you get to participate in our monthly book club that aligns with growing in those 8 areas. Plus, you get your Men in Momentum crew, right? You'll be assigned some teams, max of 10 blokes in those teams, who will hold you accountable to the action steps and tasks that you've identified in your game plan. So obviously, being held accountable to your goals will 10 times your chances of achieving that. So to find out more, guys, head over to the Man That Can Project /Inner Circle, or just jump on the Instagram or join the Facebook group, The Man That Can Project, and there'll be more information there. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and we'll see you on next week's episode. Thank you for listening to the Man That Can Project podcast. My name is Lachlan Stuart, and I hope you enjoyed this episode and found it helpful. If you did, please take a moment to rate and review the Man That Can Project on your favorite podcast platform. And don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date with our newest episodes. We'll see you again next time.